Yes, people, welcome back to the studio. In today's video, I'll be showing you ways that I write rave stab melodies. This will be similar to the likes of my tracks Take Me Higher, Music's Got Me, Supersonic, Favorita. All these tunes I tend to write quite old school sounding melodies with various sort of sounds from the 90s rave era. So I'm going to show you a few examples. I'm going to make a few from scratch. And yeah, hopefully you can see my workflow and I'll talk you through exactly how I go about things. So let's get stuck in. So first track I'm going to show is my recent track, Music's Got Me. This one's been requested on the Patreon, so I'm going to just show you exactly what the lead is in it. I'll show you a clip of it now, just with the organ lead and the vocal. Cool, so yeah, let's get stuck in. So getting rid of the vocal, the organ lead is a sample. So we've got the synth lead. This is an M1 organ sample that I got from the first Rave Generator sample pack. As you can see, there's a bit of processing on it, a bit of EQ, just EQing out the low end, utility for volume, and I've got just some reverb and a saturator. So without the reverb, it's quite a dry organ. The MIDI is probably the juicy bit in this part. So I actually got the melody idea from an old 90s house track. I did a bit of digging on YouTube. It's a really good way to find some sort of inspiration to the sounds that you want to be using, if this is the sort of track that you want to make. So I found this old track. I can't remember the ID, but it had an organ that was quite repetitive. So I kind of took the melody out of that, added a few extra notes, bit of reverb, and made it my own. So yeah, as you can see, this is the pattern of the MIDI I've drawn. Just 3 notes. So we've got B flat, C sharp, E flat. The reverb does definitely make the difference on this, because on its own, it's not that interesting, but with the delayed reverb, it just adds that extra little bit of spice. And then moving down the track, I've got another synth. I've got the same M1 organ layered on top. Same M1 organ, but it just adds a few extra notes to the main melody. So this is the extra organ. Again, I've just found the notes pretty much off what I've already made. So as you can see, yeah, so the higher one just kind of plays alongside the main one, but it just complements it. I've panned the high one a little bit to the side as well to make space for the main lead, but this just goes across the whole track. The key things from this is, yeah, first of all, the M1 organ, really good sample. You can find an M1 one hit from the likes of Splice or old school sample packs. I found mine in the first Rave Generator, like I mentioned. But it's a great sound. It really helps me when I'm trying to think of like melodies. I'll use the sound of the M1 to draw stuff out, because it just gets things ticking along nicely. So yeah, that's Music's Got Me. Again, so the influence I got was from an old 90s track. But what I'll do is I'll open a new project now and I'll just show you how I'd go about making a rave melody. The first thing I'm going to do is set the BPM, so probably about 128 to 135. Usually the speed of the sort of track I'd make with this sound in. And like I mentioned, one thing I find really useful when I'm making these rave melodies is finding a sound, an organ, a synth, any sample that you really resonate with, that you'd like the sound of and that can trigger ideas. It can be the M1, it can be a rave stab. I'm going to use this M1 organ that I used in Music's Got Me. Okay, so I've loaded this in. I'm gonna just draw a MIDI box. Okay, so one thing to do as well is, this is just for me, I always add some reverb when I'm making my first melody, just because it helps to, when I'm playing the notes, it just helps to trigger ideas. So yeah, so the M1 itself is just so cool. Like, it's a very melodic sounding note, or like synth, sorry, organ. So what I'd probably do is I'd find like a note that I'm kind of thinking would work. So this note's kind of cool. I'm probably going to end up using just 3 different notes. So what I'm thinking is maybe like E. Okay, so I've got E, G, and A. The thing is, I say E, G, and A, the sample itself is slightly out of key. So even though the notes won't necessarily reflect the sound of the organ, for the sakes of this video, it still applies to it like if it was in key. So let's just choose, I've got these 2 notes. There's different ways you can do it. You can do call and responses. You can just choose 3 notes and work your way up from the lowest to the highest. So with a bit of reverb. I'm just going to turn it up a little bit as well. Just add a saturator. May even add 1 more note above it. So there you go. We've literally covered 3 bars, and I've already got this very simple, kind of gradually inclining lead that sounds kind of cool. Bit of reverb, cool sounding M1. What I can then do is I can just copy and paste what I've made up until the 5th bar, and I'm going to copy and paste it up until the 9th bar. So if I just join the midis now, you can see what I've drawn. So it's really simple. Like, I've just chosen a few notes. I've chosen a cool sample that I want to use, which is the M1 organ. And it's just about patterns. It's kind of looking at the MIDI and thinking about what patterns you can make that will kind of work. To complete this melody I'm drawing, I'm probably going to want a bit of variation at the end of the 5th and the 9th bar. So with the 1st bar, I could add maybe a few extra notes. I could take away a few notes. So at the end of this, maybe add a note there. Maybe go one more here. And then I'll do the same. So because I've split it in half, I've covered bar 1 to 5, bit of variation at the end. And then the second half, I'm going to maybe just add few new different notes, maybe take away a few. I could maybe move them. So there we go. That's kind of a very quick and simple melody example. I've worked with the organ. I've chosen a handful of notes and I've kind of just worked my way up in, you know, you could make so many different versions of this. But what I could do now is I've drawn this organ. This could be the lead, the driving element for my track. I could make a bass line from this. I could use the same notes, find a different sample for the MIDI and turn it into a bass line. I could even move the notes an octave up or down. So an octave basically means by 8 notes. So if I went to press shift and the arrows up and down, you'll see all the notes move. Could go higher, go lower, back to where I started, or even go lower. And you can hear the lower I go, the more it sounds a bit like a bass line. Another thing you can do when you're making these leads is adding reverb and delay are two really simple elements you can add, which just help to make it sound that bit more professional. Reverb adds a bit of echo, almost like you're listening to it in a big warehouse, and delay kind of helps each note you draw just last that little bit longer and get the most out of. So with the settings, you kind of just mess around, see what works. But you can see straight away, adding a slight bit of delay just makes it sound a little bit more spicy, like adds that little more, yeah, that kind of professional touch to it, I guess. Without the delay, it might get a bit boring, but with it, just adds that extra bit on top that kind of finishes off the melody. So I'll make another one. I could use, this is the thing for me, I could literally use this M1 sound and draw so many different melodies, you know, because it just, I listened to it and I think because when I was younger, I used to listen to quite a lot of like Philip George, like some of his old tracks, Wish You Were Mine, and a lot of the 90s sort of sound had this M1 organ in. So with the vocal, I won't add vocals in this video, but a vocal on top would just like work a treat, and you'd have the foundation to a track, just because of how kind of maybe iconic the sound is. I don't know. We could even take what we've made and reverse it. So I highlight it, and then you see here it says reverse, press reverse. Bit of editing, but you kind of see where it's going. Yeah, and like straight away we've got this new. just reversing what we've made has already created a whole new melody that is also just as catchy, just as effective. Essentially, the foundation of these melodies I'm drawing is the sample I'm using, because that is you could draw as many notes as you want, but if the sample doesn't sound good, then you may struggle. A good thing to use if you don't, say, have Rave Generator, or you don't have access to any of these samples that I'm using, is just looking up the organs in Ableton are really good. One of my favorites is just searching up organ. There's quite a few. There's an organ bass, which I use quite a lot. Here we go. Basic organ bass. This is a stock Ableton sample, so if you have Ableton, you will have this sound. And let's just see how it sounds. So again, it's a different sort of sound. Notes are slightly different, but you kind of get the idea. I'll make a melody out of this one as well, and see how it sounds. So, okay. Again, I'm just gonna click until I find a note that I kind of like the sound of. Okay, F1 sounds, F sharp sounds decent. When I was making Favorita, the lead on it was really simple. It was literally like 4 notes. So I'd go like, there was quite a big jump in between each note. So it'd be like, so yeah, it would literally be like up to 2 bars. I'd find just maybe 3 or 4 notes that work nicely together as a loop, copy and paste it across, and then just press play. And again, add a little bit of variation, maybe at the end of the bar with an extra note, or moving the notes. And there you go, a really simple melody, but it's effective, it's quite catchy. There's not many notes used, max 4 notes. This again is just the way that I would go around it. There is no really right way method to making these rave melodies. But I have found in the past, like with Take Me Higher, I think that was only 4 notes. Music Got Me's, what was like 3 or 4 notes. Another one of my tunes, Mr. Right, that was a similar sample. I used a rave stab from Rave Generator, and that was, I think, was only 4 notes. So you can see quite easily how the track comes together. What I could do is, so in this one we've made, you can mess around with the settings on the organ. To have that more kind of Ibiza underground sort of sound. But you'll see straight away. So let's just add, we've made this little rave melody. Let's just add a vocal. I've got a few vocals here.
Welcome to the house rhythm. You're in the house arena.
I don't need your all night long.
This is house. This is the sound. This is house. Get into the groove. Let's get funky. Until next time, keep grooving.
Yeah, we'll just add one of these. We'll just trying to see what we've got. Okay, I'll add one of these. Right, so Just going to drag this in, turn it down a little bit. Yeah, you can see it works quite nicely actually. What we could do is just add maybe a little bit of delay on, like we did before. Okay, delay. Turn down the dry and wet. Put it to 4. See how it sounds. So there you go. Quite like literally two channels, or 2 tracks, and a vocal and an organ. And there's already definitely a melody there that sounds good that could be worked to make a full track. Again, it's kind of to do with repetition as well. Like you're kind of looking to make something that's, when it's quite catchy, quite easy to remember. I think it was LP Rhythm, or I saw a video where an artist was saying like, if you can hum your melody for the kind of the main part, the main lead, that's what's going to be remembered. So I've been at raves before where people will start to like almost sing the lead through humming, and that's, that's kind of, it's kind of what you want. Like maybe not for everyone, but if you want to make a catchy rave lead, you want something that's going to be quite memorable, almost like you can sing along to it. Like I've seen videos of people playing my tune "Still in Love with Me," and they almost like they will hum the bass line, which for me is like it's really cool to see. But that's because it's quite a simple bass line with 3 or 4 notes. That's what you want, really. So like with this one, bum 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 bum, bum. Like it's quite an easy rhythm and melody to catch up, to get caught on. So yeah, I think I could maybe make one more with the organ that we've already got. So this M1, use this vocal as well, just to add a bit of spice. You could even just use one note. Probably for this one, I'm gonna just use another note. So maybe just go down 1. Just get rid of a few of the old notes. That doesn't sound quite right, so I'm going to just go up. Again, this last note doesn't sound too right. Okay, that works. Maybe you could even bring it back down to the original. So 3 notes. Bit more reverb and delay. So there you go, like three or 4 notes, and Having a vocal can also help just fuel the creativity and kind of get a bit of direction. But yeah, straight away, this idea is like making me think, oh, should I, I could carry this on and make a full track. But all it's taken is a catchy organ sound sample along with a vocal, and we're cooking. Like, the tunes are coming, and this is kind of how I've made a lot of my tracks to date. Just keeping it super simple, adding, one or two elements, one or two tracks, one or two sounds, and kind of trying to make the beginning of a track with as little as possible. Um, and yeah, today it's worked. And if you look at a lot of old sort of rave tracks, the leads are never too complicated, maybe just 3 or 4 notes. But yeah, a lot of it's kind of patterns, even just drawing like visually, looking at drawing patterns on Ableton. Sometimes I'll do it like, I think with Mr. Right, kind of, it almost went up like a bridge, like the notes, and then I kind of just copied it, reversed it, and made the melody out of that. So yeah, I hope this video helped. Again, like, it's so, when you found the sounds you like and you work with them and learn kind of what sounds good to your ear, writing melodies, especially like rave melodies, it will come really, really easy to you eventually. It's just a case of just practice, seeing what works, and going from there. So yeah, hope you got something out of this video. Please leave me any feedback you've got or any recommendations for new videos, because I'm always looking to add to the collection of content we've got on the studio. So yeah, see you next time. Thanks for watching.